guys, welcome back. It's Creatures of Nat. In this video I'm going to show you how I made my recent commission of a Tasmanian tiger. So this is something that I finished not too long ago, so I'm going to be packing him up and sending him off this week, this Friday. So I'm going to go through the process of how I made him, and this will be like a little bit of a longish video as well, because I'm including how I sculpted the head, where I usually do that as a separate video, but I've had some people ask if they can like have a video with the entire process. So for this one I sculpted the head, and I'm going to include it in this video at the start, and then include all of everything else that I do, like the feet, the fur, the armature, some things of the armature, and some colouring. So stay tuned and you can watch the process. Okay, so first off I made some glass eyes with some glass cabochons, and I just painted the back of them in some black acrylic paint. So this head, I'm doing an original head because this is a commission, it's like a one-off commission. I'm doing an original head, and I have sculpted that out of Sculpey Original. I like to use Sculpey Original because I like the way it is a lot softer than Super Sculpey, and if you don't know what Super Sculpey is, it's the beige one. So there's like 3 types of different Sculpey that you can get. So I can actually do a video on the different types of Sculpey you can get if you're interested in that. So let me know in the comments and I can go through different types of Sculpey and polymer clays and stuff that you can get. But I prefer to work with Sculpey Original just because it's easier in my hands, and I find I work better with softer clays. So what I've done here is I have laid out a foil base. Using a foil base means the head will be a lot lighter, especially because polymer clay can be quite heavy, and it's quite hard to bake through a thick solid piece, so it's better to have thinner bits of the polymer clay so it is baked the whole way through, rather than having like you got to dig out a little hole at the back of it, so the heat can get into the back of into the core of the sculpture. So a good little note is to always have like an inside armature. I usually do mine out of foil. So what I'm doing is just sort of mapping out the basic head shape and make sure that the perspectives are right. I have a reference picture, a couple of them, different angles and stuff on my computer that's next to me, and just working and making sure I'm getting the proportions right. I like to do sort of the basic head shape first, and then the nose for some reason, and then I'll sort of work on the eyes. So I put like a basic eye placement first, and then the nose, and then work on the eyes and the mouth, because I want to get that snout right before I go on to anything else for some reason. I think the snout's kind of the hardest bit for me, and I'm sure a lot of other people as well. So yeah, I just do that. You'll find your own sort of routine and what works for you. I like to use metal tools. I had a little discussion with someone today about some metal tools, so I will be doing a video on that and how to sort of work with them. I'm not an expert or anything, but I thought I could share my experience with using metal tools on different polymer clays as well. So what I'm doing now is working on the eyes, so rolling out some sausages for just doing the eyelid part. I like to do the eyelid part first and then build around it, just so if you look at the way faces are structured, or faces on animals are structured, their eyelids are a bit more I guess repressed than the brow. The brow is usually more pronounced, so I like to do the eyelid bit first and then build on that to make the brow a bit more pronounced. So like I said before, this was a commission, so I didn't mould and I didn't cast this, so it is a one-off. But I might do one in the future because I really like Tasmanian tigers, and I'm Australian, and this is Australian animal, and unfortunately people killed it all. So yeah, I might do one in the future for like my We Were Here project. I have that in the back burner for a long time, where I wanted to sort of focus on animals that were here and are not now, or are like critically endangered and stuff. So it's something that I really want to do. I don't have the time to focus on that as well. So hopefully I can get like 1 or 2 pieces done this year. And yeah, I really wanted to do something like that. So right now I am building on the brow piece, usually with some sausages, and just making sure the eyes are cleaned up. So I didn't want an angry looking Tasmanian tiger. I wanted it more of a softer look, just like a chilled out kind of look. So I sort of yeah, played around with the eyelids a little bit more just to give it a softer look. So if you don't know how expressions work, just play around with like a little glass eye and some sausages, and you'll find that you can achieve a whole lot of different looks and feelings with just some simple movements of those little sausages. So I added the ears on the top of the head. Ears are usually the last thing that I add. I don't know why. I should add them earlier because it kind of makes the sculpture feel more complete, and like, you can get a better overall feel of what it's going to look like once everything's been, you know, put together. But I don't do it for some reason. So now I am focusing on the snout piece, and if you've seen a Thylacine jaw, they have quite a different jaw than anything else I've really come across. It's very strong and very pronounced as well, so I wanted to capture that because it's not like a wolf jaw, it's not like a dog jaw, it's something completely different. So it's a bit more wider than all of them, and it opens a bit further by the looks of it. So yeah, it was really important to make sure the jaw was right, otherwise it just ends up looking like a fox or something, or like maybe like a weasel. So just adding in some details. I'm only adding the details around the eyes, I think, and the nose area, and I actually think I ended up doing the whole thing, just because I feel that adding some texture makes it feel more complete or more finished, and I can see where like all the details and crevices and stuff are, rather than just having it like a flat piece. I find it hard to see if it's finished or yeah, I don't know, it's a bit hard to explain, but I just like to texture it so I feel happy in myself, happy with the sculpture. So I'm going to go and bake this headpiece. I have, well, I'll be able to cast the paws in resin because I have wolf paws that are very, very similar. So I can use that, which works really, really well because resin claws are a lot sturdier and a lot more durable than polymer clay as well. So happy with that. I also carved out a little hole at the back to make sure I have some space for that plastic ball and socket armature. So this doll has a ball and socket armature for the spine, so that way the head can be kept sturdy and it won't like slump or anything. And then the legs, because it's a smaller sort of leg, I did out of a wire armature which moves really, really well. But I wanted something a bit more sturdy than just the wire for the spine. So what I'm doing here is painting up the pieces that need to be black, and that's around the eyes, the nose and the mouth, and I'm using a chromacryl acrylic paint. You don't really need to prime the Sculpey, but you can if you want. It always helps hold the paint to the surface, and you know, the same deal with the resin. These feet are cast in resin, so they need to be primed, otherwise the paint sort of has a habit of coming off the resin because it's a bit slippery, so the priming it helps it adhere a bit more. So I'm going to be using this faux fur, and this is the best faux fur that I could find that could match the colour of the Thylacine. I've only ever seen one in Melbourne Museum where it's like a taxidermied one, but I can't really remember exactly what it looks like. It's behind plexiglass. So I went with my gut instinct and picked this fabric, which I thought matched really well. And I've just drawn out the shapes of the body, so I'm cutting them out using a small pair of sharp scissors, and I like to use that small pair of sharp scissors over anything else because I find I have a lot better control over where I'm cutting, and that means I won't actually cut the pile of the fur because I don't have ginormous blades. So this is what we have so far after I have sewn it up on the sewing machine, which I hate doing that. And so I've left the legs open and the back end and also the head so I can flip it the right way around, and I can also feed the armature through all of the holes as well. So I'm going to go and flip this the right way around, and then I'll come back and show you what we have. Okay, so this is what we have so far. It doesn't really look like much. It doesn't really look like a Tasmanian tiger either. So you can see how long the fur is. So Tasmanian tigers don't have fur like that. I'll do like an all body trim once it's all put together, so I make sure I can trim the right spots. But for now what I'm doing is just picking out some of that fur that has been stuck in between the threads, and I like to leave a larger thread gap so I can actually get that fur through, otherwise it ends up sort of being a bit too difficult to pull through, and then you have like sewn bits of the pile, so it doesn't look very good. So yeah, just a little tip there to make the thread a little bit wider. So for the tail, I'm doing it by hand just because it's a little bit too difficult to sew the right way around, well, to sew it on the sewing machine. So especially with the little tiny bits at the end, it's too difficult to do it on the sewing machine and to flip it the right way around. So I'll be hand sewing this one, and I use a ladder stitch to hand sew this, which I have a video on my channel on how to do a ladder stitch, especially on faux fur. So I'm going to sew this up, and then we can sew the rest of it up. So once I've done that, I put the armature through the body, attach all of the pieces that need to be attached. If you want to know how to do all of that, I have some tutorials in my shop at creaturesofnat.com. So they go through the process of making the armatures and attaching the armatures, so the two different tutorials there. So once I've done that, sew it all up, and then I attach the faux fur to the resin piece using a tacky fabric glue. And this fabric glue I get from a local store here in Australia called Spotlight, but you can get it anywhere you want. You usually have it in like any local craft store, and this one works really great for me, so I finally found a glue that works for me, and they stock it all the time. It's never run out. And also I lost the footage of me actually painting the stripes on, so I did record it, it's just completely disappeared. So I'm just gonna borrow some from the vlog so you can see what I did. I used the brown paint from Jacquard, it's textile paint, and painted them on. Also furred the face and did all of that mumbo jumbo, and this is the final piece. So yeah, really happy with the way it's turned out. I'm glad I got to do a thylacine. I've been wanting to do one for a long time, so thank you to the commissioner for commissioning me to make this sweet little one. And that is it from me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. If you have any video requests, you can leave it in the comments down below. You can also check me out on Instagram and Facebook at Creatures of Nat, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!